All right, it says I'm live. So, welcome, live from the crossroads of America, to a talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Answer questions from the audience. Just put it in the chat box, and I will see if I can answer your questions, or email me at Rickslifeasiseeit at gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. We are broadcasting on gun channels and YouTube. I'm using GunTube Chambers to as my host for the actual show. I have a Patreon page. All the info's down below there. So, and that's about it, really. And in the chat room at the moment, I've only got Blind Shooter and Snob's Wife. So how you both doing? Oh, Raphael's just joined us there. And on the panel at the moment, all I've got is Squibload, which is more, me and Squib can handle it if nobody else shows up. So.
I'll just give you pleasant background sounds of forklift traffic.
Yes. Oh, Jason Stewart is showing up. Midnight Range is here. So people are starting to show up. I don't know where the rest of my panel is. I don't know where the main host is, Patriot in the Dark.
The Patriot in the Dark show starring Rick Mitchell.
Yeah. Oh,
hey, ask Midnight. What's he cooking right now?
Yeah, what are you cooking right now? Midnight Range, TM. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, just a quick update. The heavy duty antibiotic they gave me for my infection in my tooth that I'm having taken care of on Tuesday seems to be doing its job. So I was feeling really rough when I was Wednesday, but it says one of the side effects is to make you feel nauseous. I've got over that. I'm not feeling nauseous now, and the pain is subsiding as each day goes by. So, but I'm more than likely still be on them. Oh, Midnight Rain says, I'm actually running to the market. I just got done doing some prep, switching from brunch to dinner. Patrick's joined us in the chat there. So, yeah. I'm, I suppose I better get started, I guess. But, my main, real quick, I just want to address the major panic it seems to me that everybody's having right now, especially the correct word I think they're using is us creators. I'm not a creator, but that after December 10th, gun related channels are going to disappear and all this kind of stuff. Well, if they do, they do. So if my channel gets cut, boom. Every show I've done is up on Gunstreamer anyway. And I just got to figure out how to, because when you set up to do a show, even using Gun Chambers here, you still start it using YouTube. So I got to find something. If it happens, if I continue, I have to find a different platform to actually, for it will be broadcast out there to the people, But then again, if it happens, hey, just might call it, had a good run, and that's it. Hey, John Brown Productions. So, I'm not really that worried. Be honest with you, I'm not really that worried about it. I mean, what they're worried about is, are we financially viable or whatever? Well, I've never had enough subscribers to be monetized anyway. So I've never earned a penny off of YouTube. So I said, technically, I'm not financially viable to them. So I don't care, be honest with you. I'm so small, I bet you they don't even recognize I'm here. But I did read somewhere is that they're doing another purge on all dead YouTube channels or whatever. And I noticed that in the last few days, I've dropped 6 subscribers. So the only reason, I know it's 6 because I don't have that many. So it's yeah, Midnight Rain said it's going to be bad for the big channels. Well, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, there's still, when I click on, good example, if you click on Never Enough Ammo or one of those channels, even the dreaded Yankee Marshall, you click on, when I click on them, if I'm going to watch them, commercials show up all the time in the front of them. So, even though they're not paying those channels, they're using them to push advertisement, so they are financially viable to them. So I think people are getting, panicking yet again over what YouTube's doing. Yes, are they our buddies? No. We know they're biased, but I don't think they're going to, get rid of the gun crowd. I really don't believe it. So that's my take on it anyway. And Single Shot talking about the Kentucky legislation, the new bill they're putting out for the January session is, an assault weapons ban. I doubt if it will. I don't think it will pass in Kentucky, even though Kentucky just elected a Democrat governor. The House and the Senate, I believe, are Republican. The Republicans have the majority, either in both or one of them. I can't remember which. Kentucky's a pretty gun-friendly state. And the only reason the Democrat won was the sitting governor was a crook, or he's a Republican, but he was a damn crook, and everybody knows it. And there was nobody running against him, and that's why the Democrat won. So, but it's too bad that there's, a gun-friendly state like that, they're trying to throw in an assault weapons ban. And by the sounds of it, there's no grandfather clause. Assault weapons ban and magazine ban, limited it to nothing above 10 rounds. And they're saying any magazine above 10 rounds has to go. There's no grandfather clause. And if you're caught with one, it's a class 6 misdemeanor or something. And on the assault weapons, whatever they're defining as an assault weapon, and we know it's more than likely AR-15s, AK variants, and it doesn't say that you have to get rid of them. Well, it does. If you've got 1 year from the date, if the law does pass and it gets signed in by the governor, you have 1 year from that date to register those guns with the appropriate authorities. they have a registry of where all those guns are in the state. That's the way I understood it. You know? Yeah. So we'll see what, you know, we're keeping an eye on that because Kentucky's right next. I mean, I only live, you know, I mean, it's what, 40-minute drive for me to be in Kentucky from where I live. I'm very, very close to the state line. So it's closer for me to get to, what the hell is it, Louisville? And then it is to get to Indianapolis. So not that I want to go to either one of those cities, but I'm just saying. Midnight Rain says he feels bad for Matt. That's never enough ammo. The guy will never get to 100,000 subs. Now, I have noticed that. I mean, I don't know. It does look like YouTube is giving the appearance that it's screwing with him because he never seems to reach it ever. You know? So, are they holding him back? They could be. But how are we ever going to find out? I don't know. So, there we go. Hey, Vanessa Kitty has joined us. How you doing? Yeah, we're not getting much. We're not getting. Kingpin's joined us. How you doing?
Hey, Rick. Hey, Squib. What's happening? Just getting off work.
Oh, okay. That's right. Squib and I are holding it down. Squib's at work, so he's not saying enough. He's not saying enough. He's not saying much because, you know, he has to, you know, background noise and everything else. But
no, I ain't saying nothing because you just keep running your jaws.
No, well, by all means, jump in and.
No. You're supposed to say something like, you know, what are your thoughts on it or something? You got to lead up to it.
What are your thoughts on what I've just been talking about with the YouTube thing and the Kentucky putting in that assault weapons ban?
I don't have any opinion. No, just kidding.
I was so hoping you were going to say that.
Let's see. The YouTube thing, I'm not worried about it. We've seen this YouTube thing time and again. If they're just trying to clean the cobwebs off, you know, the people who set up bogus accounts, they don't use them. How many times do you get a comment from somebody and you right click it and you go there and this channel has no content? All right. They're going to get rid of those probably. If you've got a B or a C channel, like I've got a C channel that I haven't even posted any videos on yet. I keep meaning to, and I haven't done it. That's probably going to get deleted. I'm kind of curious to see if that happens. If you've only got a couple of videos, not a whole lot of subscribers, not a whole lot of views, that might get it. I'm predicting. I'm not saying I'm, you know, I talk to YouTube directly, but I'm thinking they're just cleaning out. You know, it's like when you do a disk cleanup on your computer. That's what they're doing. Now, as far as the channels that are losing their minds over this, and I'm not saying that, like for example, Travis put out a video of this, and he was very calm. It was a short video, and he was just letting you know, in case some of his stuff gets deleted or deactivated or whatever it is, what other platforms he's on. And I thought that was handled really well. It was to the point, and it wasn't this panic, right?
Yeah.
Anybody else that's panicking, it's not about the videos. It's about the money. And every single time in the past, it's always been these big channels, and it's always been about money. Now, don't get me wrong. I remember when I got Never Enough Ammo, he said, 8 years of my life, you know, and I'm thinking, wow, I haven't heard anybody say it like that before. And with me only having done this for 2 years now, and the videos I do, you know, they're not anything spectacular, special. I don't do any live shows. I just jump on live shows and stuff like that. If my channels were to get deleted, that's the way I would look at it is, you know, it's just 2 years worth of work. I mean, you could say, well, your videos suck anyhow, so who cares? And all my stuff is backed up. I don't understand these people store every single last damn thing on the cloud for free and then expect it to be there one day. I don't trust that. I have all my stuff backed up. So I can recreate it. It's a lot of work to recreate it, but if I were to go somewhere like Gunstreamer, if I was to put all of it on Gunstreamer or something, I could recreate all of it. It'd just be a pain in the butt. But for somebody to say this was years and years of work and I put a lot into this and to see it all go away is over BS, I could get that. But everybody else, they're just whining about money. This is all about their potential to make. This, even if they go, I only make $11 a month. Yeah, and there's other things that you make money or something else that's worth money off of, or you're trying to make more money. It's more potential. Now, don't get me wrong. It's a capitalist society. You want to make money off of this, go ahead. But there's a lot of people out there that seem to just think that they're entitled to it, which is not the case. And the other thing is, there ain't enough room for everybody to have 5 million subscribers and make $10,000 a month off of their Patreon. It just there are lots of people out there with small channels that are trying to do everything they can to get as big as they can, as fast as they can, because they want to do this for a living. And this is fun to do. I can tell you, this is fun to do. It's work, but it would be better than working for the man in the sense that it's fun. But it would be more stressful than working for the man, because now you've got to pay for your own health care and your own this, your own that, and it's feast or famine. It's kind of like being a private contractor. One month you might be buried in work and not have any free time. The next month you might be struggling to get work. So for anybody out there who seems to think that they're going to get rich off of this crap, there's the potential, but is it probably you're about as likely to win the lottery, I think. So I have no sympathy for the people that are whining strictly over compensation in whatever form that compensation is. But for somebody who's going to watch years of their life get deleted, yeah, I get that. As far as the Kentucky thing, the only way it's going to pass in Kentucky is if Kentucky goes Virginia. If the people who live there don't stay active, get active and stay active, if they just stay at home, they don't send any emails to their representatives, they don't go to rallies, they don't stay involved in their state and national rights organizations, and they don't make sure that these politicians know, if you vote this in, this will be your last term in office. If they sit on their ass like the people in Virginia did, then yeah, it'll go through. Otherwise, Kentucky is more gun friendly than Michigan, and we're pretty gun friendly up here.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. So I agree with you. I mean, I remember when Matt said that about 8 years of his life. Now, back in the day, before the first purge they did, Matt, Yankee, all them were making some nice money off of YouTube revenue. Then when they cut it out, especially, that's why Matt's took that promotion at his job, because he lost all that money he was making from YouTube, and he's got a family to raise. So, but yes, I mean, if you're doing toys videos or, eating channels or doing, I don't know, anything but what we're doing, people still seem to make money on YouTube. Oh, Echo says people in Kentucky need to get up and start making phone calls to their representatives, along with a good stern was that stern boot for conservatism or boat for conservatism? So anyway, Rich White's joined us. E Honda's joined us. Yeah. Now, Midnight, going back to Matt, never enough ammo. I agree with it. There is something fishy going on there, because you're right. He has been at 99,600-ish for like a year on his subs. So it does seem kind of strange. And oh well, that's how it happens. But anyway, what you were saying, I don't have any of my stuff backed up at all. If it disappears, I don't care, because 99% of my stuff is just my audio files and these YouTube chats I do, and I just convert it into audio files for Podbean, iTunes, and Stitcher. So, I mean, iTunes and Stitcher I get for free, but I pay for Podbean to store the audio file there. So I have the audio files all backed up on Podbean. Now I'm not, I as you said, I like doing this. This is fun. I actually I forgot to take them yesterday, so I'm going to take them on Monday to the post office. I got some packages back here from the winners. So I normally mail them out once a month. So I'll mail those out. Where I was going is Podbean cost me $14 a month. 20. It depends how many winners I have. Anywhere between $20 to $30 to send those out. And I get, I think it's $15 from Patreon, and 5 of that I was paying out 5 out of my own pocket to other channels. So by the time they subtract that out of there or whatever, I get about $10. So yeah, I'm definitely not doing this for money. So Echo says, I'm getting ready to do a Precision 308 Winchester reloading series on my channel. Spent a lot on my Christmas money on Black Friday. Now, will they let you do reloaded now?
Yes.
Okay.
When all these people are going, you can't do reloading, Iraq veteran 888888 called his YouTube rep and asked him specifically. Then he made a video. Of course, nobody watches his videos because he's a shill, whatever. And he says, yes, you can do reloading videos. Now, that being said, they took down the video where he made brass shotgun shells into cases. So they got him with that under the deem that it was manufacturing, I think, not reloading, which reloading is not manufacturing. At some point, they may take down the reloading stuff. So let them, whatever. We'll just go to another platform. See, there's a couple things. First off, people think that I'm against people making money off of this because there's so many negative things that I say about it. And it's no. This is a capitalist society. Go ahead and make money off this. But there are people that have gotten really obnoxious about it. They've gotten really, really obnoxious and annoying about it. And I think it's like any other thing. If you're doing what you like for a living and you get to a point where you've got to make this work to pay the bills, it's no longer something you enjoy doing. Now it's just another job. And that's what some people have tried to turn it into. They want to get out of their 9 to 5, they want to do this, or they have gotten out of their 9 to 5, they want to keep doing this. And some people have, don't get me wrong, there's some people that are doing this and making a little money on the side or paying their bills with it, and they're doing it tastefully. And there's other people that are just tacky about it. They just really, and you're jealous. No, I'm definitely not jealous. I'd rather keep working for the man and know that my health care is paid for and I got a steady paycheck coming in and all this other stuff and do the YouTube stuff on the side for free. That's my choice. If I ever decided I wanted to do it for money, I'm going to have to make some changes in my life, make some decisions and stuff like that. But there are people out there that can do this, and they're not jerks about it. And there's a lot of other people that turn into jerks over it. That's my problem with it. There are a lot of people in there that just seem to think, well, I'm going to be the next Hickok 45, and no, you're not. It's just like somebody who plays football in high school and thinks they're going to be in the NFL. There's no guarantee you are. It's not bad to shoot for that, but
yeah, you're right. I mean, you got any input on anything we've been talking about, Kingpin?
The YouTube thing is about censorship. That's all. It's not about all this other frilly stuff. It's about censorship. And people are going to welcome it with open arms by saying things like they're a private company and they can do what they want. So there you go on that. I'll just leave it at that. And the Kentucky thing, I only saw that their Guns and Gadgets put out a video, so I don't even know what that's about yet. Okay,
yeah, they're doing a bill for starting in January, an assault weapons ban bill. But as I was saying earlier, Kentucky, I believe the House and the Senate is Republican controlled. It's just the governor who's Democrat. So
YouTube is a private company, and they can do what they want.
So is Walmart, Squib. But you want to sue Walmart. You want to sue Walmart for not letting you carry a gun in there.
No, I never said that.
Yes,
I never said that. No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No,
you
I did not.
You did too.
No.
You did. You said if I get shot in Walmart, then I'm going to sue Walmart for not letting me carry my gun.
If I get shot in Walmart, I didn't say I was
Walmart's
going
a
to
private
sue
business.
Walmart
They can
because
do
of
what
their
they want.
policy. If I
Walmart's
get
private
shot
business.
there,
They can do what they want. Right? I mean,
you're twisting my words.
I'm
I
asking
put
you.
a condition on it. You're making a blanket that I'm going to do that before something happens. Here's the thing.
Even if you get shot in Walmart, why is it your right to sue them? Because they're a private business. They can do what they want.
The thing about that is to prove a point. I'm really not lawsuit happy. But the other part of what I was going to say after I was going to try to explain my position on the whole e-bagging poll is that GunTube, GunStreamer, and Full30 exist. And they've existed for a while now. Okay, especially Full30. They haven't stepped up to the plate by having live streaming. They haven't stepped onto the plate to provide the amount of storage space, and they haven't stepped up to the plate with providing a platform that everybody wants to go to. Nobody wants to go to these. They all want to go to YouTube. Those three entities exist. They could be viable and profitable and expanding right now, but they're all sitting on their butt because none of them have any ambition. I'm really kind of disappointed in all three because they exist. They have the capability. They could be making some money, and they could be having these big names promoting the platforms and getting more people to come over there and taking the business away from YouTube, and we could go ahead and handle this in a capitalist way.
And just, we talk about it all the time, but the only reason I'm pushing back on you on that, Squib, is because I know I can, because I know that you and I can have a decent conversation without, cussing each other out and being mad at each other.
Oh, we can cuss each other out too. No, I'm good with it. I'm not one of these people where if I insult your dog, you're my enemy for life. I'm not one of those kind of people.
Yeah, that's the reason I felt comfortable bringing it up live on air, is because I know that you and I can have a rational conversation even though we disagree.
And if you think about it, okay, you calling me out on what I said is exactly what I'm okay with. I call other people out on their BS. I don't look at it that way, but I don't see your point. I absolutely see your point. It's just like the whole open carry, conceal carry, when the people talk about we shouldn't open carry because it'll scare the crap out of people, or you shouldn't open carry because you're going to be the first target, or blah, blah. I don't understand the logic behind all that. I just don't agree. So that's one of those things where I can have a conversation with somebody, and if they're intelligent and they present their case well, it doesn't mean that I'm going to go, oh, I see your point. I'm going to go over to your side. It means that I'm not so ignorant that I don't see your point. It just doesn't work for me that way. So I don't mind you or anybody else doing that because I'm always calling people out on their BS. If somebody wants to call me out on my BS, do it. It's a free country, Then if I was one of these people that says, don't bash me, but then the next video I bash a bigger channel, I'm a hypocrite. I don't want to be a hypocrite. So I appreciate friends like you that know me well enough to know that we can be in disagreement and we still, at the end of the day, we're still friends. And this whole, we all gotta stop fighting and work together, that's never really gonna happen. But if more people could have a relationship like that where they can say, look, we can agree to disagree on this thing, but not let that would probably be a good, oh my goodness, I'm going to say the word, compromise to this whole we all need to stop fighting and work together garbage.
Squib is becoming the devil's advocate.
You are going to get some words that'll give Rick a channel strike in a minute here. I am going to send you the biggest box of mayonnaise packets you've ever seen in your life.
Probably deservingly so for that last comment.
I see Blind Shooters joined us. How you doing, buddy?
Wait, did you say you see Blind Shooters joined us?
Yes.
Is that almost like an insult, or?
I'm racist.
Hey, Rick, Squib, Kingpin, how you all doing, guys?
All right.
Hey, welcome to the den of the site supremacists.
Yes.
Good to see you, Blind Shooter.
Well, that's okay, because I'm happy to run to see Rick.
There you go.
Nice.
Anyway, Where were we? Oh yeah, about suing Walmart. Okay.
Why are we suing Walmart? What'd they do?
Nothing. It's a. We don't want to get. We don't want to get.
No. Seriously, he did. He called me out on my BS, and he's not wrong. I mean, he's not specific, but he's not wrong.
Yeah. So.
But why is it that Gunstreamer isn't allowing live streaming? Why isn't that they're not pushing it more? Why isn't Full 30? Okay, I heard Full 30 is finally letting everybody on board after years and years of going, we're only going to let 2 channels be a part of us. They're not pushing their stuff. And GunTube, I don't know what the heck happened to GunTube. It's like they deleted every video on there, and the chamber only works half the time. So what is going on with our 3 viable options?
I don't know. But what you call it, Full 30 is not. They claim to be let everybody on. I signed up with them when they first done that, and I thought, great. I'm still waiting to get the okay, but I'm not big enough. You gotta have a few. You gotta have a couple of thousand people for Full 30 to even entertain you. So,
Not one of the cool kids yet?
do what?
You're not one of the cool kids yet.
No.
So if you just went out and made a video on YouTube about how much money you're going to lose about the new changes in terms of service, then you could be one of the cool kids.
That's right. I'm not a cool kid. I'm my own guy. I walk my own stream. Even I've been that way my whole life. Even during when I was growing up in school, you had the nerds on this side of the room, you had the jocks on that side of the room, then there was just me right there. I've always been that way. So there we go. Anyway, I only read part of the story, but the dreaded Ginsburg Supreme Court Justice extended President Trump's ban on letting New York, his state, have his financial records. And I was reading it more. I thought, well, my God, is she feeling all right? But, I mean, she didn't do it out of the kindness of her heart. There's 2 cases sitting in the Supreme Court to do with this kind of stuff already against Trump. And she extended it into Friday, this coming Friday, which would be what? The
13th?
Yes. And I believe that's, around when those cases are going to be heard in the Supreme Court anyway. So, Friday the 13th, lucky for some, unlucky for others. So, but that's the reason she did that, So, I read it as a Ginsburg unlikely ally, it says. Then I read more into it, and that's the only reason she done it, was because they got cases coming this week to deal with that. So it would save more challenges and everything else just to hold it all off until then. So, but oh well. But what I want to talk about, what I've read, unless anybody's got any further info on this, what I read this morning. Now, I am not the, my disclaimer, I don't know all the facts. I'm only doing what I'm reading. I'm going about the shootings on the 2 Navy bases. Makes you wonder about those Navy guys, But the one in oh shit,
Pearl
not
Harbor?
the one. What?
Pearl Harbor?
No, yeah, in Pearl Harbor. What I was reading this morning was it's come to light that the actual what do you call whatever, the low-ranking guy, whatever you call him. I mean, like in the Air Force, it's an airman, and in the Army, it's a private.
Seaman.
Seaman, that's the word I was looking for, right?
Did you say that word again, Rick?
No.
No, never mind.
Man.
So just so I'm clear, Rick was looking up semen.
That's right. That's right. He was in trouble at work, so he was more like getting pulled up on it. Was it captain's mask? Is that whatever they call it for a Navy guy?
Yeah, they would do a captain's mask. I was talking with somebody about this off air, and I said, I bet you he probably shot his section leader for a write-up.
Well, I don't know exactly what he done. It wasn't anything that was getting kicked out of the military, but it was enough, more than likely, to get him in trouble some way or another. That's why, because most of these young guys, that's why they're on guard duty, because they done that. They ain't the top of the class type thing. So that's what I read this morning on that one. Now, the one that baffles me is the one in Pensacola, because it turns out that they're now treating it as terrorist activity. Now, yes, I mean, from what I understand, the American military, train a lot of foreign countries on how to. I mean, if they buy a bunch of jets off of us, we teach them how to fly them, that kind of thing. And so these pilots from Saudi Arabia, are here. Why weren't they all screened before
Because
they
it's
come over?
racist.
I mean, they must have known.
No, they were screened. Don't think they just walked into the country. Here's the thing: how did he get his hands on the gun?
Well, I was getting to that next. But you say they were all screened. Yes, I mean they were screened enough to get into the country, but they should do a deeper screen, because it looks like he had. I mean, as of this morning, it said that he had people over for dinner this week, and he was watching videos of mass shootings. Now that's what it's saying. Whether that's true or not, that's what I'm reading. But also, how did he get because it was in a classroom, what it was saying. So how in the hell did he get a gun in the classroom?
Oh, you don't go through a metal detector or nothing like that. It's just a regular old building with just rooms in there. There's probably some rooms off of a building that's off of the flight line next to a hangar. And it would be no different than you walking into I guess Walmart, shall we say, or something with it. There's no you don't get search coming onto the base. You don't go through a metal detector. It's easy to sneak a gun onto the base. What I want to know is, where did he get it from? Did he go out in town and buy it on the street? Did somebody sell it to him illegally? Did he somehow or another smuggle it into the country, which is also entirely possible as well?
But aren't military bases gun-free zones?
Yeah, but that don't mean you can't go onto the base with a gun or any other sort of weapon. If they don't search you or your vehicle, they ain't gonna know.
For a civilian getting onto a military base, you get searched huge, especially this day and age.
Not in Pensacola, you don't. They just wait to get through.
Yeah, no. In Virginia and Maryland, from Quantico to Andrews to the Naval Bethesda Yard, or the Bethesda Hospital, the Naval Yard, they pretty much do a cavity exam to get you on the base nowadays.
So Pensacola's got the Naval Aviation
though.
Museum on it, and it also has a lighthouse that is, even though it's on the Navy base, it's part of the National Historical whatever. I don't think it's attached to the park system. It might be, but they're basically across the street from each other. And when you go to the gate, they just check your driver's license. They write down your name on a clipboard, and they wave you in.
Well,
and as long as you don't break the speeding laws or run a red light or something like that, they've got no reason to stop you, search you, or whatever. They're used to having lots of people visit that base. So that one is not quite the same. I mean, it's still an active military base. The Blue Angels are there, for Pete's sakes. But because they've got those two attractions that civilians go, it's like going to an air show. You know, you're letting 50,000 cars onto the base for the air show that day. You're not searching all 50. You don't. There's no way. You'd never get them. Even if you had all the gates open, there's no way to search all the vehicles. And believe me, I've been in a situation where the cars were backed up onto the highway because they're searching every vehicle, whether you had military ID or not. Back in the 80s when we bombed Gaddafi, they were searching every vehicle coming onto base. And it was some serious stuff. So under certain circumstances at certain bases, getting onto the base is nothing. But let's just say you're in the military, like the guy in Pearl Harbor. When you drive on the base, you got a sticker on your car. You just pull up to the gate, and depending on what time of the day it is, they'll just either wave you through or you stop and then they wave you through. It's rare for them to stop and search and see who's in your car and what's some ID and blah, 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 unless there's something going on like a recent terrorist attack like 9/11 or something else like that. They don't heighten the security constantly. It's not this, you may pull up to the main gate and there might be like a machine gun bunker and there's a couple of tripods there and there's no machine guns on them. Or the machine guns are there but they're not loaded or whatever it is. It's not what people would think. It's not this arsenal, this I guess this fortress of, you know, they've got weapons and stuff like that, but most of that stuff is stowed most of the time for safety. And there's MPs on the base and they're armed, but just like cops out in town, they're not everywhere at all times. So for this Saudi guy, he had paperwork. They might have even given him they probably gave him a rental vehicle, but he had paperwork to get on and off. So he pulls up to the gate, he shows his paperwork, and they just wave him through. They're not going to go pop the trunk, you know, or whatever. So he could have gone out in town, got a gun somewhere, and brought it on the base, and nobody would know. The guy in Pearl Harbor, they would have just waved him on the base, and he could have had it. He could have had it tucked in his waistband. They would have not known.
With regards to him getting a gun now, like maybe you guys might know more, but with them saying he's a Saudi national, would he legally be allowed to buy a handgun here in America? Because one of the news reporters went on a huge tirade saying, how do you get the gun if he's a Saudi national? Shouldn't he be prohibited?
No, yeah, unless he has a green card, you know.
Well, I got a small request for E Honda and his Gay Frog chat. Is how come it's another Saudi national? You know, 9/11, bunch of Saudis, and no, don't worry about that. The Saudis
They
are our
are
friends.
not our friends.
Jamal Khashoggi was shot and killed and chopped up into little pieces by the Saudis. Oh no, they're our friends. Now again, Saudis, you know, so maybe we need to reconsider our friendship with the Saudis, especially if we're an energy exporter now and we're exporting oil and natural gas. What do we need the Saudis for anymore?
Yeah, you're right. I agree with you. I mean, they are not our friends. They haven't been for a while. We've only been friendly to them because of the oil. Now, if we're a bigger producer now, yeah, I mean, you keep them at an arm's distance. Is what I would say. You don't want to alienate them, but we don't need to bend over backwards for them anymore. In my personal opinion, wasn't it Saudi? Weren't they 9/11? Weren't they Saudis too? Or they came through there or something?
No, they were Saudi.
Yeah. You know, then that big boohoo with that journalist that got chopped to death. Wasn't that Saudis who did that? Chopped him up and shipped him out somewhere?
Yeah, that's Jamal Khashoggi, the guy whose name they repronounced every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were having a stroke there.
I mean, they were.
Yeah, most of the mainstream media was too.
Saudi Arabians aren't our friends, you know. But back to what you're saying. I worked at New London submarine base, and they, after 9/11, it was for weeks, for at least a couple of months, everybody was searched getting on that base. If you worked there, they told you to arrive an hour early because it takes you that long to get through the gate because the traffic's backed up. because they're checking every car, running mirrors underneath it, popping the trunk and everything. But as time went by, if you were an employee, like I was a federal employee, yes, I had a sticker on my car and stuff, and I would be waved through. If you didn't have one, they would pull you over the side, do the full search. And
but that's pretty standard. After an incident, it's more strict than normal.
They used to do spot searching too. Sometimes, even though I had the ID card, the guard would stand there and put his hand up, stop me, and he would search my car. It didn't happen often, but they would do these spot checks. Now, I worked in the commissary, so I got on base. I could go anywhere on base except where the actual down, where what's the word for it, where the submarines are tied up, right? Because they're nuclear submarines. There was another set of gates to get to that part, and I was not authorized to go through there, so they wouldn't let me through. So security's tight nowadays to get on these bases to a certain degree. Now, as you said, these guys more than likely either were issued temporary ID cards or they flashed up orders. You said a piece of paper, and they're waving them through because they're seeing them every day. So they're employees or whatever they think. So, but where did he get the gun from? That is the question. Gay Frog Chat. Where did he get the gun from? Is what we want to know. So there we go.
A damn gun show loophole.
That's right. He more likely bought it off of somebody on the corner, or bought it at a gun show legally, because the guy didn't check to see if he was an American that was allowed to own a gun. So, but as far as I understand, I thought you had to be an American citizen, or have a visa, or not visa, green card. To say you're allowed to live in this country and work and all that kind of good stuff, then I think you're allowed to buy a gun and all that kind of good stuff. So that's where we're at. So I don't know. Patriot, what are you doing in the chat? You meant to be in here. This is your damn show. You're the co-host. Patriot's out in the chat there.
No, Rick, you're the co-host. He's the host.
Yeah, true. I was trying to force some, stuff there. Oh, what's he saying? If you're drinking in Tijuana, is that how you pronounce it? Stop at Roberto's for a burrito. Then Roberto's for a burrito to ride through the main gate in the trunk without hassle at Pendleton. So whatever he's going on about. Back in the day, I guess he was a troublemaker. Oh, he was a Marine like you, right? Squib?
You mean is?
Oh yeah, because you never retire. You're always a Marine, no matter what.
I'm always a Marine.
Yeah. Oh, Rich White said he probably did have a green card. Fighter pilot training isn't a couple of months thing. True. Even more likely here for a year or more, I would imagine. So.
Not necessarily. It really depends. If he's already an established fighter pilot and there's been an upgrade to a system and he's just taken the class for the upgrade, that could just be a matter of weeks. It really just depends on his level of training, how long he would be here. So without any more information, I couldn't really say. I mean, we had Israelis on our base because they use the same helicopters we do. So they trained with us, and I never asked any of them, hey, what kind of ID do you have? And we had British Marines on our base, and they were in uniform, and they had their sniper rifles and stuff, and we were giving them a ride to some place for them to do some training with the American Marines. And I was talking with them and wasn't saying, hey, how did you get to bring your guns to America? So I don't know everything about how they get granted access. if he came over here for training, he probably flew over here on a commercial flight. But let's just say he was already an established fighter pilot and they brought their own aircraft. They ferried him all the way over here. It wouldn't be nothing for him to hide a gun somewhere on the aircraft and get it later, because it's not like they land and we search them.
Yeah.
So
Rich White is saying here he was a new pilot. They had just started the training program.
Okay.
That's what one of the news channels was reporting.
Okay, then he would be here longer. Okay, just wasn't sure about that. But then again, they don't always bring their own aircraft. That's one thing. When we go overseas and we bring our aircraft back, we do this process called desnailing, where you actually take the damn thing apart and you clean every nook and cranny, so you don't bring back any foreign bugs, germs, dirt, seeds, you name it, right? Any of this stuff. Well, I don't know if they, when foreign aircraft come over here, if they have anything where, especially if they're going to be here for a prolonged period of time, if they require them to do that. I never asked about that. So I can only tell you what we do with our planes.
Yeah. But then again, talking about that, I mean, commercial airplanes who fly all around the world, they don't clean them when they land, So
that's true, but during the process of taking off all the panels to clean everything, it wouldn't be that hard to slip a gun into a compartment and then unbolt it later and get the gun out of there. But if he's a new pilot, he didn't bring his own plane.
Yeah. Okay, Patrick just said, he must have read this and I didn't see this. That guy in Florida had been in the USA for the past year and a half. Set to go home this time next year. That was a hell of a training program. Maybe they're going to send him to Top Gun after he finished there. I don't know.
Did we arrest him or did he shoot himself?
No, he got shot by law enforcement.
I mean, really, how hard could it be to fly a fighter jet? I mean, seriously.
Oh yeah, you can do that. From what I understand, you can do that on one of your computer games that everybody brags about. That's how they
fly it, not so much. Land it, now that's the hard part.
Hey, I played Top Gun on Nintendo, so I think I'm already up to snuff.
That's right. And I could go over to Pakistan or one of them other Afghanistan. I can be a sniper too, because I shoot them rifles online here. I'm an expert. So, oh, by the way, guys, my competition, I got one entry, and it came in today, and only part of it was right. So I'm going to use the same prize, but give you a different question to make it easier for you guys. Because you couldn't answer my question, and I'm not going to give you the answer to it because I might use it again at a later date. So my new question, the prize, if anybody's looking at my camera, I know it's not very clear because my internet sucks, but I got a Gaston Flag mat cleaner here, and it says F around and find out. And this comes from Alan Anchor. This plus a few, a bunch of stickers is the prize. And the question, I thought this one was easy. Patriot, what are you doing out in the chat? Get your butt in here. Okay, the question. According to the Guinness Book of Records, right? I want to know who. I need the name. And it's real easy, this one. This is email only. So don't go writing in the chat like 90% of you do. According to the Guinness Book of Records, he was listed as the fastest man with a gun who ever lived. I want his name. Email me at rickslifeasiseeit at gmail.com or spottedrick at gmail.com. Yeah, Angelina from Allen Anchor supplied that. So she, you know, if you need any stickers or patches made, she can do it. Or you just want to buy patches and stuff like that, she has a whole bunch on her website. She's pretty. And she's normally, if you go over to Discord, she has her own little thing there, and there's a chat goes on there every day. She's a pretty cool person. So just wanted to let you guys know. So that's the prize. All right. So there we go. So where were we? What were we talking about? Oh, the thing with the anyway. We cannot trust the Saudis anymore. Well, we haven't been able to trust them for years. Why? But as we said before, it was always to do with the oil. And I understand, you know, to a certain degree, why the government wants to stay friendly with them, because they don't want the Chinese or the Russians to get control of that area.
Well, E Honda put it out in the chat earlier, and where all that stemmed from is years ago, the United States made a deal with Saudi Arabia and all those, you know, Arab oil producing companies, that all the oil on earth would be bought and sold with the American dollar. And, you know, conspiracies say that's why Saddam Hussein was killed, and that's why that guy in Libya was killed, is because they were both actively trying to start buying and selling oil on the open market without using the American dollar. And, you know, you can't have that, so they got to be eliminated. But that's the main reason that we became friends with the Saudis in the first place over the oil, is because you could only get it with our money.
That's right, because hey, that makes sense, because it's listed in wherever they sell oil as X amount of dollars per barrel. You know, it's all done. It's all, as you're right, it's all done in U.S. currency. So that's another conspiracy, isn't it? Why is that? Why is that done that way? You know. So there you go.
The reason it's done that way is because we had the only military worth being friendly with that wasn't, you know, super communist, and Saudi Arabia probably wouldn't exist if America didn't protect it. So America said, we'll protect all your crappy little countries as long as you sell your oil with our money.
Yeah, but only thing it made them multi-millionaires, billionaires. You know. Oh well. But then again, but as I said, because of that, we do need to keep them. We need to keep them at arm's length. We should just not take their word for anything and let them come and go as they please. I feel, you know. But what in the hell do I know? I'm just a little YouTube channel
who probably won't exist by next week anyhow.
No.
That's one thing, you know, we were talking about it earlier, is the vast majority of the people that have YouTube accounts don't make videos. Because as far as I understand, you can't comment or get into a live stream without an account made.
That's right, you can't.
So I can't text in the chat or leave a comment on your video without an account made. So if they're going to wipe out all of those, there goes all your viewers, not just your content creators, but all your viewers are going to be gone. Not necessarily, because you can still watch, but you can't interact anymore.
You know what, though? I've noticed, though, sometimes when I get a negative comment, I'll go ahead and click on their channel just to see what they do with theirs, and then that's usually where I find this channel has no videos or whatever. And it's like, okay, and I don't care. Go ahead and criticize me. That's fine. I'll criticize myself too, or have somebody call me out on my BS. And we need that checks and balances in our life as well as in our government. But what it's kind of weird is, some people, they complain constantly about trolls. It's like, it's not really that bad. But when somebody says, hey, you could have done a better job. Okay, let's see what you're doing. And if they're doing a better job than me, I'm going to go, oh, okay, yep, they kind of threw down the gauntlet there, and maybe I need to step up my game. But when I go see they're doing nothing, it's kind of like, oh, okay. And then I just move on and just whatever. This person's just, they're saying whatever they're saying, but they can't back up their words. So for some people, yeah, they might lose that phony sub or that ability to comment or something like that, but they're also going to be losing a bunch of trolls too, I think. And that might make some channels happy. I don't really care either way, but it's just interesting how some people want to get really critical and they've never made one video themselves. And it's like, you still have the right to be critical, but you realize you have no experience, no background to back up your words.
Yeah. I'm just reading the chat here. Kingpin's being invited onto the gay chat. You know, there you go. What is it?
Dude, you're moving up in the world.
What? The chat's going to be about sprinkles?
No, Midnight Range for the closer.
Whoosh.
There we go.
Okay, so I walked a mile in your shoes. I'm struggling to get to the damn mute button.
I was hoping that one day I could get somebody else.
No.
It's harder than it looks.
Yeah. Midnight said he's going to have a donut bracket on his show.
Oh, sprinkles, yeah.
Sprinkles seems to be a hot button issue when it comes to donuts.
Yeah, yeah. I like sprinkles, personally myself. Because when you bite into the donut, they seem to fly off and land all over your shirt.
You got yourself in the mailbox.
Yeah. So, all right. So, what else is new? Anything? And I forgot to do the cutter of the week. Let me come up with one real quick. I don't know. You know?
What about a head-to-head comparison between spare ribs and baby back ribs?
Okay, you want to know the difference?
And what you think is a better quality, like for the consumer?
Good idea. Yes, that's a good one. Okay. A baby back rib is the ribs, you know, where you get your pork chops, the bone that's in the pork chops. That is your baby back rib. It comes off the loin. Your spare rib comes off the belly, where your bacon comes from. And personally, myself, the meat on either one is just as good as the other. Baby backs are overrated. They're overpriced for what they are. The best deal to get is an actual St. Louis rib, because an actual spare rib has that big ridge bone on it along the back. A St. Louis rib is that same piece, but that big ridge backbone's cut off. So, you know, to me, that's the best deal. That's the best all-around deal on spare ribs. I remember years ago. Now, you got to remember, years ago, I'm talking late 70s, when I was an apprentice meat cutter in England. I learned how to cut in an English butcher shop first, because that's where my father had retired to, because my mother was English. And it wasn't until, 20 years ago that English people started cooking spare ribs and shit like that. So when we used to bone out pork, we used to throw that shit away in the fat and bone container because it wasn't worth a shit. But now, you know, now that they're worth money. But I mean, yeah. So that's the difference. A baby back comes off the loin. The regular spare rib comes off the belly.
What's your opinion on beef ribs versus pork ribs?
Oh, beef ribs. To me, beef ribs are. I don't like beef ribs because to me that meat is tough. You know, it's stringy. You know, it really is. Pork ribs are pork meat. A pork spare rib is definitely better than a beef one. I personally say. You know, now beef ribs. I mean, it's basically almost the same thing too. to a certain degree. Your beef ribs, you can get some from the top of the brisket down to the prime rib. You can get, there's a section there. What is it? I lost count. I think it's 12 ribs on a side of beef, I believe. And when it's cut, you can get your beef ribs through there. You know, E Honda says beef ribs are great if they are done right. I mean, beef, I find them stringy. And to get them real tender, you need to cook them slow. You know, I mean, if I was going to do anything, I've never cooked them, but I've eaten them. I like Korean short ribs, which is made from the same piece of meat as a beef rib comes from. You know. Yeah, Midnight Rain says if you slow cook beef ribs, they're a killer. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you have to cook them slow, beef ribs. You can't cook them like you would a pork spare rib. Otherwise, it's just going to be tough and stringy. It really is. Fallen Angel has joined us in the chat. There we go. You know? So Midnight Range being invited to the Frog Gay chat too. So there, you know, there you go, guys.
What are y'all doing to the
I don't know
frogs?
what conspiracy he's going to do this week. So, yeah. So that's the difference between baby back ribs and pork ribs. Baby back ribs are overpriced. They really are. You know? And so I would rather the only problem with buying the regular spare rib is you get that you're paying for that big bone along the back. Now, that's what I'm saying is what you want to buy, you're getting the best is the St. Louis rib because that big ridge is cut off. And they're not as expensive as baby backs. You know?
Is that big? Is that bone the spinal cord, or is that a different bone?
No, it's actually the breastbone. It's where the pig split. You know, when it's gutted, you're going through the breast. That's what it is. It's the breastbone. You know. New Outcast said he's letting the cook in. Oh boy. Oh. Yeah, we always end up talking food.
That would be an interesting show to sit back and watch. Have like you, Honda, Midnight, and then I could hook you up with my friend Steve from the Mr. Big Kid channel, and you guys could talk, cooking and cutting meat and barbecuing.
Yeah, it would be interesting. You know, it really would.
You could probably teach Midnight a few things.
Hey, he's pretty. I've talked to him. I've listened to him before, and he knows a lot of his stuff. The difference between me, I only learned to cook through selling the stuff and learning, actually listening to people reading about it and stuff. But a chef, a lot of chefs learn to cut meat, but they cut it. A chef will cut it different than I will. You know, I learned to cut meat for a profit. They learned to cut meat for a particular cut they're looking for, which is totally, it's just the way plus, like my steak knife is different to what a chef uses. You know, they do more of mine, a steak knife is, I don't know how to say, a chef knife looks different, you know? So, it's hard to explain. I don't know if Midnight Range can explain it, but a chef's knife's totally different. You know, as Midnight says, a different knowledge. I know way more where the stuff comes from, etc. You know? So, there we go. Oh, okay. Where are we at? We gone 4 o'clock. Anybody got anything else they want to talk about while we're here? No? Nothing to talk about. All right. So we're going to wind it down then. Oh, for anybody who's interested, my I don't know if you were all here at the beginning. My Wednesday. Oh yeah, to let everybody know, I will not be here Wednesday because I got to go to the dentist on Tuesday, and they're pulling a bunch of teeth. You know, so I doubt I'll be able to talk on Wednesday. So I will not be here Wednesday. So if anybody wants to use my hour or whatever Wednesday night, feel free. No problem. And if my channel's not deleted, I will be back next Saturday on the 14th. So just wanted to let you guys know that. So I will not be here Wednesday for Shooting with Disabilities because I'm going to be disabled with a mouth full of cotton or whatever you call it, pad stuffed in my gum here. You know, because I think I'm having five. Cut a long story short, for years I've had just a partial on the bottom, and I have about 5 or 6 teeth on the front here, and two of them are infected, and the other 3 or 4 are shot. So he said, let's pull all of them and then get you fitted for a full bottom plate. So basically that's what's happening to me. So I'm not going to be able to talk on Wednesday, I don't think. You'll be seeing me sitting here drinking with my cup and trying to drink, and it'll be dribbling all down my face and onto my shirt because my mouth is so. Oh, yeah, in that range. Rick's Life as I See It, Chewing with Disabilities. Yeah. So. Yeah. So that's what's happening to me. So. All right. So I'm going to wind this up. It looks like Blind Shooter had to jump out. He normally does that. So, yeah. E Honda said, "Oh, he's English after all because of the teeth." Yeah, So, but then Rich Wright says, "True, British wouldn't get false teeth." Yeah, that's the American side of me getting the false teeth. Which is a shame that I got to do that. I mean, really, it's for years. I brush my teeth and shit, but drinking and smoking and all kinds of, stuff like that. The life and also partly because of my mother was British, and on that side of the family, did have, what's the word for it when you inherit something? They did have, yeah, with the teeth. So that's where some of that comes from too. So
I got a question for you about England.
Yeah.
Is the weather over there really as crappy as everybody says it is, or is that just like just one of them false kind of ideas because it rains once in a while? It's supposed to be foggy and cold and raining all the time.
Not all the time. No, it's not. It has some beautiful weather there during the summer and spring. I mean, some summers it rains all summer, but most summers are nice over there. Spring and summers are nice. It doesn't snow that often either, but it gets cold. Now if you go further north, like into Yorkshire and up into Scotland, you get snow. But the further south you come, the less snow you get. But no, it doesn't rain all the time. Yes, in the winter months, it can get really foggy. I mean, even in my time, the fog would be so heavy you can't even drive because you cannot literally see the end of your car. But that doesn't happen all the time. But it rains. I mean, it rains mainly in the fall and winter, like it does anywhere else in the world. It rains over here in the fall and winter. But it's not raining all the time like people say it is.
Yeah, you see any movie about England or TV show, and it's always crappy weather. And I didn't know if that was just like a TV thing or like
Yeah,
a
I mean,
bad show or if that was real.
no, I mean, it rains every day down in Florida. A quick shower. Every time I've been to Florida, it's rained every goddamn day. I mean,
Yeah.
it might only be a 5-minute shower, but it rains.
Right, yeah, but the difference is 5 minutes after that shower, it's 80 degrees and sunny again.
Yeah, true. Now in England, if it rains, it stays sort of. Yeah, the sun comes out sometimes, but it could be overcast for the whole day. I mean, it's yeah. Rich White said at one time the fog in London was like smog, because smog filled the city and the fog at the same time. It was pretty. My mother used to tell me about those days. It used to be that bad, you know. Because I mean, back then the factories were pumping out shit into the atmosphere and everything else, and then with the heavy fog and the smog, I mean, London used to, it used to be terrible. People couldn't breathe, having asthma attacks and all that kind of shit, you know. But no, I mean, I've never seen fog like I had when I lived in England over here, anywhere I've lived. Even when I was living up north in Rhode Island and stuff, it would have foggy mornings, but nothing like I would get when I lived in England. I mean, we're talking fog. I mean, sometimes I'll go when I was back in my drinking days, I'd go to the pub, and when back in my day, pubs used to close at 10:30 at night during the week, 11 o'clock on weekends. I don't know what the hours are now. I think they're allowed to open all day like they do over here now. But back then, so when you come out of the pub at 10:30, it'd be fog. I mean, thick fog. And driving home and that used to be fun, you know. But hey, you learn to live with it. So there you go. Oh, Midnight Rain says it only rains 4 times a year for 3 months every time. No, it doesn't rain that much. It has beautiful summers. I mean, if you think about it, if you look at some movies or shows that are based in the summertime, it's beautiful over there. You know, it really is. I mean, it wouldn't be that good, beautiful scenery and greens and all that stuff if it didn't get sunshine. So,
you ever go swimming in the North Sea?
Yes.
Once, or did you do it more than once? I
done it a couple of times. I've done it. I don't like the sea. I don't like the sea. I mean, I don't like salt water on me. It just irritates because the salt dries on you. Then you got to take a shower. Oh, it's horrible. Then when you go to the beach, you get sand in your shoes, and it gets in your car, and it takes about 2 years to get it out of your shoes in your car. It just No, but I used to swim I've been swimming at Brighton, and I swam in the sea at Bournemouth. Now, both of those are roughly on the southern shores, so the water's a little bit warmer, but it's still cool. I mean, it's in the 60s, so. But yeah, the North Sea can get kind of chilly.
All right, I got another geography question for you, and I should probably know this, but I'll take whatever kind of harassment I get for not knowing whether this is true or not. Is there really a tunnel under the English Channel to Europe?
Yes.
You can drive back and forth.
Well, yeah. So you can't drive. It's a train, unless they've opened it up for cars. But when it was they started building it about 130, 40 years ago, but it got stopped back in they started in the 80s, and I think they finished it in the 90s. They finally dug it under the ocean, under the North Sea, from England to France. And yes, originally when it first opened, it was you drive onto a train, you know, and that's how you got your car over thing. But yeah, it's there. I think it took 2.5 hours or something for the train to go through it or something. You know. So yes, there is the Channel Tunnel. Whether they've expanded it where you can actually drive it, but I don't think so. I think it's still done by train. You know.
Yeah, I didn't know. I had always heard that there was a tunnel.
Oh yeah, I mean it was
a train and a car.
It was originally started back about 140 years ago. You know, like anything else, companies would start it, then go broke. You know, then it would be left. But they used the original tunnels for when they finally got it done. It was based off the original tunnel. Yeah, it goes right under the North Sea. And I think it goes maybe 5 or 6. Was it 5 or 6? Or maybe only 100. It's about maybe, I think maybe it was 100 feet under the actual seabed. You know? So, oh yeah, it goes deep. So, but I mean, it still has. I mean, also you can't bring, if I remember correctly, unless the laws changed. You know, you could travel to Europe on there and back, but you couldn't take your pets with you. Like if you wanted to go to, a lot of people would go to France to buy wine and stuff and bring it back. You know, because you were allowed to bring French wine back so many bottles per trip or whatever, but you couldn't take your pets because if your pet left the country, you had to put it in the 6 months quarantine when you come back in England, because being such a small island, England does not have rabies at all in England because it doesn't allow any animal. The only animals that can get into England without being quarantined are horses. You know, but they're kept like race horses or show jumpers. That's the kind of horses that get used in England that are allowed to get there without being in 6 months quarantine. But if you have a dog, I mean, like a lot of people, like when I was working on a military base, a family would be sent, you know, on a 3-year tour to base in England. They want to bring their dog with them. That dog would have to go into 6 months quarantine before it was allowed to actually live with the family again. So, and what's strange, you had to pay for that boarding of that dog. The government didn't pay. You had to pay. So not only do you have to put your dog in quarantine for 6 months, you have to pay for it for 6 months. Yeah. Oh, Patrick said, yeah, that doesn't surprise. He said the last he heard that the boring machines that drilled the hole are still in the tunnel. They're next to the tracks. More than likely, the reason that is, if it ever caves in, they'll be able to drill it out to save people, I guess. But I tell you, if that ever collapsed, I mean, you ain't gonna live. It's gonna flood with water. You know, but Honda said, just get a new dog. Yeah. So. All right. I'm calling it quits now. Okay, Rich Wright said, there's the link for the website for the company that runs the Eurostar tunnel or whatever they call it. So, oh yeah. So, you know, nowadays they even have a hovercraft or high-speed boat. Normally it takes 2.5 hours to get across the channel. But if you go on this high-speed hovercraft sort of type boat, jet boat or whatever, it can be done in 35 minutes. I mean, but it doesn't take it's for passengers only. It doesn't take any vehicles, I don't believe. So, you know. I mean, because like when they did like Dunkirk, when all the British ships went over there. You know, it was took them about 2 hours to get there, 2 hours to get back, or whatever, 2 or 3 hours. I don't remember that was before my time, but it's part of the old war. You know, so there you go. Yeah, but I tell you what I do love. A lot of them have changed, but you see some old British movies where the underground in London, the subway, as they call it over here, it's called the underground in England. And some of those stations when I was a kid used to go to, they were the same station back in the 40s, the tiling and the names and the round thing. And today, any station they've remodernized, it's real fancy looking, bright lights and everything. But when I was a kid, it would be sort of like a dingy, sort of beige, yellowish colored tile, but the names would be on there. And what was strange, if you're standing on the platform, the wind comes howling through those tunnels. You know, you're standing on a platform, the breeze coming through them. It's unreal. But when I was a kid, I used to, when you're standing there and you're waiting for the train, and there's maybe, it's not a busy station, or there's only maybe half a dozen people standing on the platform waiting for the train. If you are any Doctor Who fans, there used to be a time when the Daleks used to come out of the dark tunnels. Exterminate, exterminate. That's what, as a kid, they used to scare the shit out of me going in the underground tunnels. Because I thought
so every galvanized trash can you passed, you thought might have been a Dalek or something.
Oh, yeah. Exterminate, exterminate.
All you have to do is run to the nearest police box and you'll be fine.
Oh, yes.
You just walk
Now, I think there's only one left in England, a police box, and I believe it's in Trafalgar Square. But as a kid, they were still around when I was growing up. I was even, as a kid, because the last steam train ran in 1968, I believe. And as a kid, I remember going on steam trains. I know I'm an old fuck, but so there you go. Anyway, that's it. Anybody got anything else to say? Any other questions?
You have to wait at least 1 or 2 seconds for midnight to ask you if it's a free-for-all since you said the F word.
Yeah, well, when I set the channel up, I clicked the button or the circle that says not suitable for children. Doesn't mean I want it as a free-for-all, but...
So how's midnight keep getting in here if it's not suitable for children?
I know. I don't know how he keeps getting in here. He's going to get me a channel strike. Yes, this show is going off the rails on a crazy train. Oh, but yeah, I know I said it. So there you go. It's anarchy. That's what it is. I used to like that. Any of you guys ever watch Sons of Anarchy? I used to love that show. So. Thank you, Kingpin. I appreciate that. So anyway, I'm out of here, guys. I'll be here next Saturday. I won't be here Wednesday because of the medical issues I've got. So hopefully the host, Patriot in the Dark, will do something. So we'll see. Or Kingpin can start one, on my hour next week, whatever. So I just want to let you know. Okay, I am going to call it quits. You got anything, plugs or shout outs, Squib?
Let's see. I'd like to plug Overtime. For anybody who has an opportunity to work it and then wants to complain that they don't have enough money, you did it to yourself, dude.
All right. Kingpin, anything?
Right around 8 or 9, maybe. Usually about 8. There's a channel named Uncle Jim. He does a live show, and I just put the link out in the chat to one of his videos. He does a lot of reloading stuff and a lot of caliber stuff. So if you're interested in watching a live show later tonight, check that out. And then the Gun Snob should be doing a show tonight at around 9:30. So plenty of good stuff coming up. Thanks for having me, Rick.
Okay, yeah, and I believe isn't G-Web's do one this afternoon or after me or something? Is
Yeah,
Is Minuteman University show or whatever?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Two Live Moo. Watched every episode of Sons of Anarchy. I did too. I love that show. You know, I don't know why. I guess it was a show. I mean, we used to root. I mean, though they were bad guys, but they were the heroes. It was kind of strange, but all right. Hey, now did you anybody watch that spinoff of Sons of Anarchy? What's it called? The Mayans, I think, is the new show. It's had a couple of seasons. I've watched it. It's okay, but it's not as good as. So, anyway, I'm calling it quits here, guys. So I appreciate you all sticking around. I really do. And I noticed I got 3 or 4 entries already to my quiz. So I want to say thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. And I will see you all next Saturday. So good afternoon, everybody.
Never fear the dark.